So my name's Annette, but you already know that. And I'm with Davin Joseph today on the Elemental podcast. And Davin and I have been friends, acquaintances, real friends for a long ass time. And yet I always give people a chance to kind of give their bio. So what would, if somebody was like, who the fuck's Davin Joseph? What would you say, my friend?
It seems like I lived a few different lives, right? Growing up, I grew up in South Florida, so I'm a Floridian, right?
A rare breed, really.
And had a passion for sports, caught and it led into a career playing professional sports here in Tampa. With the journey through Oklahoma on my way to Tampa. And Tampa's been, my post-football days, place of retirement, which has been excellent. A wonderful place full of great people that, we talked earlier about community. It's my community. It's my home. And so...
You got a lot of family here now, too, right?
Yeah, good amount of family here now. But throughout Florida and Georgia. And so now I do some real estate investing and a lot of yoga and trying to find peace within life.
Okay.
Yeah.
So part of why I wanted to ask you to be a guest with me, to be on this thing with me, is I've had the great benefit of truly getting to know you over more than a decade plus now. And I knew you when you were playing.
Right. Yeah.
And I was actually a massage therapist. I was a part of your regimen of state, and I was a yoga teacher to you, with you.
Yes.
I know I wasn't the only one. Slut. But we had a lot of opportunity to have in-depth conversation.
Right.
And so, given the focus of this, so I'll do it because I actually need the practice. I stumbled earlier when I was telling you.
Okay.
There's 7 foundational concepts that I think if we truly pay attention to, it empowers us to be vital, healthy, and one of the things that we really early on gelled with one another was, and I felt so grateful to know this. You really care about how you're living. You really care about what happens in relationship to the energy you put off, the mindset that you have, how you impact people, what that impact is. And so for the person that might be just finding this, because some people are going to find this because your name is going to draw them to this, and they're going to be like, tell me, what the fuck is this elemental thing?
Right.
So the 7 foundational facets that if we were to attend to them would create vitality and potentiality for meaningful engagement with this one precious life are hydration, nutrition, movement, sunlight exposure, sleep, community, and mindfulness. Now, mindfulness could be prayer, could be contemplation, could be some faith-based behavior, but it's also could be mindset, but essentially awareness of. And so, again, referring to how many years we've had deeper conversations, there's been plenty of opportunities, and you've brought some people into my circle of awareness that run with you that may not have that same level, and yet
definitely not at that time. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And no names mentioned.
Right.
And yet I was always impressed also by the depth of your friendship and commitment to people. You are truly a loyal motherfucker.
I try to do the best I can. And it's just about being the best version of myself every day.
But inside that best version is the capacity to be a friend. And friendship is inconvenient, if we're honest.
Very much so sometimes.
Yeah.
It can be very inconvenient. But it's a part of community as well, right? right? So, you think about how you want to be a part of something or create something. And the community doesn't have to be something that's a massive thing, right?
No.
But you want to be able to contribute to your community in positive, great ways. And it's not always about the highlights, it's about the lowlights as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so even I have to remind myself about this, is that, in a friendship, you go through highs and lows, times when you communicate a lot with people, sometimes when you communicate very little, sometimes when you're happy with that person, sometimes when you're not, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's about being consistent, you being consistent, not always wanting consistency from that person, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then there's, you have to be aware of the dangers of allowing people to take advantage of your community. And that's where, we're always trying to figure out that balance, right? And even that degree of separation from people, right?
Well, I was going to say, I think what you're pointing to is, there's a saying that if I can see the 5 people closest to you, I'll be able to tell you what your future's going to look like. Because the quality of people that you have around you
Correct.
are going to dictate some of what happens for you, to you, with you, next to you, near you, all the things.
100%.
And so there's this balance of like, who am I allowing into that consistent
and boundaries
around the people? Like, there's some people that I have in my life, they got to remain over there on the periphery.
Oh, 100%.
Because I just want to share this, and I think you know where I'm headed.
Uh-huh.
You described to me someone that is a friend of yours, and I don't know where they fall in your life right now, but you were like, that's a street dog. That's a dog that runs in the streets.
Yeah.
And if you bring that motherfucker up into your house, you better plan on your couch, your chairs. There's going to be piss in your house.
Some piss and some poop in your house. And your cushion, your nice clean cushions won't be clean anymore. You bring an alley dog.
That's it, alley dog. It wasn't a street dog.
In the house that's meant to be outside dog. The outside dog is the outside dog. Not every dog is domesticated enough to be in the house.
That's right.
You bring that dog in the house.
You're bringing some outside in.
Right, yeah, just beware. What you got going on, right?
Yeah.
So, oh yeah. He's still
Is he an alley dog?
He's still an alley dog.
God bless.
God bless him,
yeah. So this awareness that you have, that's mindfulness to me.
Correct.
This is the discernment and this lesson of believe people when they show you who they are. I oftentimes engage in what's known as idiot compassion. I see the potential.
I'm a good person.
I carry a lot of compassion into my exchanges.
Correct.
And I will mistakenly make space for an alley dog because I see the potential for, what did you call it, domestication. And I'm like, you can come into the house because you'll know not to get on the couch. And then I catch the motherfucker on my couch. And I'm
surprise.
And I'm like, that's on me.
That's on you.
That is on me.
Yep.
And so this idea of community, while I often approach it really warm and fuzzy and very, let's come together, we're better together. You want to have some discernment around that.
100%.
So I also know, and this is less funny, but I'm sure there's still some laughs in it.
Correct.
You went through a learning period around family, friends, and you're saying like on the, you're obliquely pointing to it like, hey, I've had to create boundaries. So that abuse of the community, abuse of, your energy, which in some cases is money.
Right.
Yeah.
Money, that can be time.
Money, time.
Resources, that's outside money.
Access to other people even.
For good, yeah. And so, It's just like the friend that wants to stay for a couple weeks. And a couple weeks is like a couple months, years. You know what I mean? That's abuse of resources, right? It's not necessarily necessarily cost you when it does away, but it's an abuse, right?
You could quantify it if you wanted to get the Excel spreadsheet out.
Correct, right.
And yet, you don't need that level of analysis. It's just not an equal exchange. Like, hey man, thanks for, I'm on my way out.
Right.
You gave me a launching pad.
Correct, yeah. So it comes in numerous ways, right? But it's about creating boundaries that, it doesn't have to be an announcement. You know what I mean? Sometimes you can get there in a gentle fashion, right? And sometimes you will upset people, right? And that's normal, right? But you can't live in a place where
you can't please all the people all the time.
And that is the reality of it, right? And I'm okay with letting people know that, hey, I can't make you happy every day. And that's okay. But it doesn't mean I'm a I'm not sure.
Yeah, wow, that's it. Okay.
But it just means that I may not be able to meet this demand from you at this time on this day.
With this frequency, maybe.
Right?
So start to develop other resources.
Right. But if I could help, I would help. But sometimes you can, it's possible. But it's you gotta save those sacrifices too. You gotta save them.
Yeah, you gotta figure
them all.
No, where you're willing to sacrifice, we want to be discerning to give the sacrificial aspect. Like, it's too strong perhaps, but I'll go without so that you can have. But it's got to go to somebody that then turns it around and does the same for someone else.
Right. You don't want to you want your sacrifice to be used in the right fashion. And rightfully so. It is your sacrifice that you want to create for somebody. And we know it's not 100%, right? But, if you were trying to average it out and say that, am I helping you legitimately, or am I wasting time? You want to be able to say that you're actually helping, right? Because we all deserve help.
And we need it sometimes.
We all need help. That's why we talk about community. But, we have a responsibility that if somebody helps you to do the right thing with the help, right?
Yeah.
And so you want somebody to be just as responsible with the help that you give, to say that, hey, okay.
My turn.
Yeah. That person really gets good with that help, right? And it's a part of, trying to create those boundaries in those relationships. For some people, you only can give them advice. Some people can give them money and advice. Some people you can give them just money and you pray for them, right? And say, I hope that this goes in the right place. But you know that, hey, I do have a limitation, but I really do want to see this person do well. So I'm willing to say that this sacrifice, I know maybe the odds aren't, maybe the percentages aren't in my favor, but I'm going to do it anyways. And I know
I'm working on tipping the scale.
Right. And so hopefully for this person that it works out. Right? So somewhere in that mix I try to live. Right? Somewhere in that.
In Buddhist terms, this is known as discernment and the application of skillful means. So this application of skillful means, first, the filter, discernment. Do you have even the ability to take this in fully? Can you receive?
Correct.
And then will you take the receptivity into action that's corrective, right? Like, if you need help, I want to help you. Maybe I walk you into rehab. Maybe I go out to dinner and we decide, and I'm just using this because sometimes people need somebody to go out into the world with, where booze and drugs and let's call it the alley dog behavior. You're not going to sniff anybody's ass, right? You're like going out with a guy who has, as a friend, you're going out with a guy who has the desire to like maybe slip out the back door, and you're like, not when we're together.
Right.
And you show that like there's things that can be done that are fun, that don't involve the
Oh,
negative consequence, the kickoff to negative consequence.
yeah. It's active, in
Mm-hmm.
in my life where I am the designated driver now, and that is a great responsibility. It's a great thing, but of course, I still have some friends and acquaintances that love to try to push the envelope.
Just have a drink. Just have a drink.
Yeah, and then they think it's okay to behave in a certain fashion.
Mm.
And it's like a little bit too old for that. I think those days are done.
I love the thing.
It's okay.
Mm.
I think it's okay. We can get better.
Yeah,
right.
we're mature.
Right. Yeah. Like
this is a grown ass man over here.
Right,
I'm not some boy that we go fuck around like that.
Man, it's but so sometimes it's but if you don't say anything, you're condoning it.
In my house, in the kitchen, I have a board basically, and I have kind of a rolling system of putting things up there to remind myself. So one of them is, what I tolerate is what I validate. Be mindful,
100%.
right?
Yeah.
So you're speaking to that is in my life a lot right now. It's like, because now this will be a great segue to some other things that are equally challenging. We've talked a lot about being Black in America, being a Black athlete, being a gladiator,
Right.
Some of the underbelly of what it is to be an American.
Right.
And what we tolerate is what we validate. And so, like, for me, as much as your life got a passion for movement, a passion, like, I will say this every day, all day, to anybody that will listen. You want to see what it looks like to be deep in the flow of. I'll come at it a different way.
Okay.
I love doing yoga with you because you move so fucking beautifully.
I appreciate that.
It's not just because it's a big hunk of man meat. Like, I'll also appreciate that. I'm not gonna deny, like, that's a man. However, you move more like a ballerina in many instances. Like, you have a level of natural flow in your body that you've cultivated. Not all football players have that. You've cultivated, and you move beautifully. And there's this level of, like, I have an appreciation for how much joy and command live in your body.
Correct.
As an athlete.
Right.
And so I'm super happy that you were an athlete, because it's clearly part of your spiritual dharma to be a man who moves.
Right.
And man, still to this day, if you come to one of my classes, I'm always like cheating a little bit, and I'm looking in the mirror. Where is that motherfucker? I want to see it. Because you just move beautifully.
I appreciate it.
And you drop into flow, like it can be seen when you're moving. So I have an appreciation for this. And at the same time, we touched on, if I could, I would probably curtail football as a thing, because I believe it's brutal on so many levels.
Right.
And so the gladiator piece, like, I find it hateful, and that's a chosen word, that we relegate so much vitality and potentiality into this. It's a violent, and I know somebody's gonna be like, you're a fucking pussy to me, because men have a natural tendency to want to tear it up.
Right.
I want to applaud that, the masculinity, the willingness to, like, get in it.
Right.
And I think we've subverted some of the natural masculinity into this violent sport, concussions. Like, your body took it, man.
Oh, for sure.
I think both labrums are torn. You've had knee stuff. You've got low back stuff. I mean, you're concerned about TBIs. I mean, you and I, and I'll still make this statement. You need help physically, somebody to stand by, I'm in.
Amen.
Because I know, man, you gave it up for the American public.
Correct.
It's a type of service.
You can say that. You can say it's, sports and entertainment are very close, right?
They're fucking synonymous.
Right. It's about TV ratings and TV deals now, right? Growing up in South Florida, that was a lot of kids' dream.
Still is today.
And still is today, where football is culture. And it was a part of that growing up as a kid, walking to practice, it was like some of my funnest days. Really going to practice and walking home after. It's just kind of what we did. And it was summertime, weight training, and watching football on Sundays and staying up late to watch Monday Night Football. It was my childhood.
And part of, I would say, is it wrong to say that was a type of church?
100%. That's where a lot of kids went to stay out of trouble. Get a lot of leadership. Your mentorship. Right?
Male guidance.
And direction. So it helped in numerous ways. As far as putting you on a track to help you understand what is discipline, what is hard work, what is commitment, what is a team, right? All those different things, sacrifice, right? Brotherhood, it's all these words.
Fraternity of suffering.
So, yeah. And so, my coaches are still, in my life, in some way, shape, or form, right? And so it's those relationships you build. My best friend, we played football together in high school, and so it's not saying that everybody in my life came from my high schools, but some of those bonds have lasted.
Till now, they're still alive. Yeah,
exactly.
They're still important to you.
And so,
I shouldn't shit on it then.
No, it's not. It is, of course. There's pros and cons to almost everything, right? And so, I made a choice to be a part of it, right? It still makes me happy, right? To see young men, making their dreams come true and helping their families and being able to play sports. But of course, with the highs and the lows, just understand what you're getting into. But it's okay. It's okay. And so it's
well, and I never asked you this question. Where did you get the guidance? Who brought it to your awareness? Who assisted you? And you might not need to name anybody. Maybe. I don't know. I want to leave you the room to keep people in your life anonymous. And yet, there's I think it's a documentary out, 30 for 30 or 30 under 30. And I think the title is Broke. And it highlights how few professional players, and I don't know the specifics if it's just football, but I think it focuses on football.
Football probably big focus on football. That's right.
And how much money y'all make, football players.
Correct.
And then how much abuse of that money, loss of that money,
correct,
fuckery around money.
Yeah.
Let's just name it. And how broke, literally within 10 years.
No shorter than that.
Men that made millions of dollars.
Correct.
And essentially, consciously or unconsciously, sacrificed a certain level of their vitality, even though that was what they built.
Right.
On the far side of it, you've had, 10, 15 surgeries.
I probably had about 5 surgeries, but sitting in about same as significant injuries. Season-ending injuries, significant injuries that are part of my life today. Still,
I know.
Oh, yeah. So it's some things that aren't big, and some things that get better with time. Some things you can't get rid of, such as arthritis.
Yeah.
You help them through the rest of your life. So it's some things you walk away with that you know. But was it worth it for the journey? I think I got out on the less scaled part.
How many years did you play?
9 years. Well,
Pro.
Overall, 9 years pro, 4 years college, 4 years high school.
By the way, are you still on, please, you get to laugh at me.
It's okay.
Is it Nintendo that you were?
Well, yeah, okay,
What-
so
what?
the classic games, the old games.
OG.
You get, OG games, the originals, you're still on those. The new ones, no.
Not now.
They get all the old players out of the new, they put the new ones in.
The new
The new
superstars.
fast, young superstars.
Yeah, man. I just remember you told me once, and again, clearly I am not a gamer. I remember you saying, like, I said something to you about college, and you're like, yeah, I was. Someone brought it to your attention. You didn't even know that your number, your name, you as a player was still active character in. Is it Nintendo?
Yeah, it's probably PlayStation.
PlayStation.
But yeah, it's those old games still live.
I love this.
Yeah, they're old games.
Davin Joseph lives on.
Yeah.
Crushing.
So it was so as far as that journey in players having financial difficulties after playing pro football. Yeah.
Who gave you the guidance early on? Because again, I was with you when you were playing.
There's a lot of programs out there for people who want to listen.
Okay. Nice caveating.
Of course, it is all about influences, right? So you can.
Who are the 5 people around you?
Yeah, so you can go and take a weekend class about financial,
fluency.
independence.
Yeah.
About, you can learn about real estate, you can learn about other investments that interest you, restaurants, whatever. But all investments aren't going to be successful. That's the nature of investing.
That's
So you have to do a lot of things that are more modest. But sometimes people want to take big swings, big losses, right? The people that are around you that you trust to do certain things can be misleading, right? And we still have people that scam and rob and fraud now in our financial institutions today. It's not going anywhere.
No.
So it's easier to say that a player went broke because you'll know who this person is that got robbed from or got, their money taken or got scammed out of money rather than my grandmother who got robbed out of her 401k for $60,000, for instance, right?
Yeah.
So it makes for better headlines. Now, of course, there's bad spending habits. There's a culture of professional sports that lend to high-end luxury items, right?
Well, there's the juxtaposition between, I remember seeing, and this would be ages ago, I bet it's not true anymore. I remember seeing Chris Rock driving a Toyota, and he was like, he goes through his whole spiel, he's his funny self. He's like, I'm driving a Toyota so that I have money.
Correct. 100%.
And then also again, I never watched a season of it, but is it called Ballers?
Oh, great show.
So
it was a great show. It didn't run for very long, but I thought it was pretty good.
And that premise was you're watching the arena of sports and people that live alongside sports fans, sports. What are they? When you have an agent.
Yeah, agents, and support staff and financial advisors and
it
concierge services and things of that sort.
Looked like it could be sexy time.
Oh, for sure.
Right.
Oh, 100%.
And then I wonder if you got any money left and what are the hookers there then?
Yeah. And so it is and I don't think that's an over exaggeration of it. I think that's pretty accurate.
Wow.
To how some guys decide to live, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have some players that are legitimate celebrities, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have some players that are, smaller, but you can say, of course, it's on ball is the higher end portion, but you do have guys that do live a higher end lifestyle, and some of them earn it, legitimately earn it. And some that probably is reaching a little too much to be spending that much money.
Stretching your financials.
Stretching your financials a little too much. Try to live like a king, try to live like a prince. And you should be a lot better shape. But you live like a king, you can't see what to do with your money. Do what you feel is
do what you do, Prince.
Do what's best for you. But it is just like anything, money can be very addictive, almost similar to a drug. When you make a lot of it, and you feel like you have so much, but it's
still want more.
Yeah, it's pretty much true. Is that 1% of the 1%, like the real 1%, is small, very small. And there's a lot of people that might touch the 1% and ran back out of 1%. So it's tough. A lot of winners, but young men, millions of dollars without having a real job is pretty much a recipe for disaster.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
So for you now, outside of football, what makes for your vitality? So if I gave you those 7,
right,
how are you doing with, like, what do you pay attention to? What does Davin Joseph, who's a pro player, now a pro player in life, right? Because you're contributing to your community. We already touched or talked to that. What's it look like now for you to take care of you?
Movement is still a major part, of health from my point of view, right? I don't want to start moving, but it's not
use it or lose it, brother.
Yeah, it's not powerlifting moving, right? It's more yoga moving, Pilates moving, HIIT classes, things of that sort. And I like to belong to those communities. So I like to do my workouts in a group session, and you meet people, and
When you get on a reformer, is there any room left?
No, they got to give me the special one, but it's only usually one of those.
Yeah.
So there's only a couple studios I can actually go to.
Yeah, because you are a big bastard.
Yeah, so it's but I like to, to be a part of those communities because you see that there's no real age limit. It's males, females, from young to old. And old, we're talking about 80s, 90s, which that's not even really old if you're moving. Like,
if you got joints like butter, baby, it doesn't matter what your age is.
Yeah, it's just, they're very youthful, So I like doing that, but that's a major part. Of course, being mindful of, I'm mixing too, being mindful of my community, and just trying to keep peace within, my being. I try to be as respectful as I can to everybody, each and everybody and some people it's easier to deal with than others, but I try to give everybody that same respect, treat people how I want to be treated. Very simple, right? I try to understand more of where I'm at in life, right? My expectations, right? So that I can have, how can I say the right word? So I can continue to stay balanced, right? And sometimes I think when you're an ambitious person like myself, patience is definitely not in the mix sometimes, which can lead
I
to
don't know anything about that.
which could lead to a lot of frustration. But, I have to be, realistic with, my goals, my expectations from people, from myself, right? To keep things balanced and peaceful within myself, right? Inside. That's all inside talk right there. So of course we always talk about hydration. Hydration is key. A recent battle for me has been sugar beverages. You start them, so hard to stop them.
You're like, so hard.
God, so you start drinking sweet tea. You want sweet tea all the time. Can't keep drinking that sweet tea. Right? Same thing with coffee.
Not if you want to keep your girlish vigor.
Nope. Don't do it. You can't. Yeah, sweet tea is terrible. And so is Starbucks coffee. If it's black or espresso, that's it. I can't keep on going down that latte route. Oh, as soon as I start, can't stop. So
you're like, I gotta stop.
Gotta stop. So that's definitely big in as far as hydration and nutrition, right? Mm-hmm. Which is
Do you pay attention to things like sleep now?
Not as much as I should.
Okay.
Not as much as I should. I think sometimes.
Would you say that you don't because you're grinding?
Yeah.
Okay.
Number one reason. Work is always an excuse to not sleep. And productivity goes right down the drain.
Of course it does.
2 days later, productivity is right down the drain.
Right in the shitter.
Yep. Because
you didn't get enough sleep.
You're trying to pull those, heavy hours, and you're just like,
I got nothing left.
Got nothing left.
Yeah,
can't focus.
Your tank's empty.
Yeah, your tank's empty. You can't focus anyway. So staying up late that one night trying to get something done, you're usually better if you just try to balance it out. Because then when you're actually working, you're more focused and more productive, unless you just want to live off energy drinks and caffeine, which is
also going to eventually be a crash.
Yep. You're going to crash off that too.
How do you do with sunlight? Does it matter to you?
Sunlight does matter. I think I don't know if this matters in the whole equation, because summertime sunlight can be so harsh. I've been doing a lot more evening walks where it's more about catching.
So you're walking?
I like the fresh air, the fresh breeze at night after the heat is gone.
Dissipated.
And then you get this like cool breeze sometimes at night. Not every night, but some nights you can get a great breeze and it's great walking. So you're kind of still getting the steps in without all the stress.
Do you keep a count on your steps?
I'm not sure if I'm counting steps. I'm counting distance more than steps.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm on distance more than steps. But I don't.
Do you have a weekly goal?
No. I just try to do it at least, I guess it's a goal, 3 or 4 times a week that I'm walking in the evenings. But it's more about being able to think better, right? Yeah. Being able to relax, right? And while exercising without high impact exercise. Because I like taking like a hot yoga class that's really going to challenge you. You're taking some, you're really working on your breathing. But I like low impact exercise as well, where it's more.
Well, we're designed to walk.
Right.
I mean, if we were going to go down this conversational route, like it's the cheapest, most effective neuromodulator, health enhancer, which is why I was like, oh, you go for walks? I was like, I want more.
No, yeah. So walks, I because they used to be very boring to me. Until you start to make it more, right? So it is more of time for me to think, and I'll have a topic, process, right? And work through things, right? And so I think as long as you have a safe place to walk, right? Vehicles.
Yeah, you're not going to get your ass run over.
Animals, right? So as long as you have a safe place to walk, it's all good, right? Be aware of your surroundings, because those AirPods, you can't hear nothing, so you really got to be aware of your surroundings. But you can get lost in thought. You can get lost in your mind of really being able to think deep. But it takes time to get to that point. It's almost like a meditation in a way.
It definitely is.
And so that never been good at sitting down to meditate, but walking, it's freaking wonderful.
I like this. So you just covered sleep, eat, nutrition, sunlight, community, mindfulness. And so we're just missing one.
Which is the one?
Sleeping, eating, hydrating, moving. sunshine. I think we got them all.
I think we got them all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then I think we have enough time to delve into this, which
Okay,
is
go ahead.
we talked a few minutes ago about, just as I was like, let's go to the yurt. You're like, sure, let's go to the yurt. The hyper masculinity that is football.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. Even though I know there are women leagues.
Yeah.
Now, I know somebody actually. I think you might even know her too, just because of the yoga Tampa community. Lady linebacker, right?
She was doing a class in the evenings, I believe.
Yeah, she's
at the studio.
Physically powerful,
correct,
beautiful, just gorgeous. And it started out sort of as a lingerie thing, and then it actually sort of segued into more women that were like, no, I want to fucking get out there and do the thing, damn it. Which is cool. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Not my bag. Right. Not my bag.
Understood.
But how did it, maybe for you in specific, did it ever transfer, like, consciously, like, this is what it is to be a man, to be violent, to be, aggressive.
Right.
Because I also know we have some people in our lives that equally were in that space, and they turned it on the field and turned it way down off the field.
Correct.
I don't think I've ever asked you, because I see you as definitely gentle giant.
Right.
Right.
For sure.
I see you in the yoga flow. I see you. Right. I see you. What was it? United Way.
Yeah.
You had a prominent role with United Way.
Right.
I watch you take care of your family. I watch you be a friend to people. I think of you as literally one of the nicest motherfuckers I know.
I appreciate that. And you know a lot of people.
And I know a lot of people.
You know a lot of people.
And I know you.
Yeah.
And then you did me the favor once. It actually wasn't for me, but it was for my dad.
Right.
He wanted to see you play. He wanted to be on the field.
Yeah.
He had played in college, and you got us some tickets. I think you figured out how to, you got a discount or something. I was able to get tickets through you.
Yep.
And so we went and watched you, and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Right? Because I don't
it's
watch
very intense.
Sports.
Right.
So, because I think this is a huge conversation that has to be had in our culture now.
Right.
What is it to be a man? Like, what does that mean?
Right.
As much as it is a conversation, what does it mean to be a woman? And I know, because I know that you have this in your circle of friends and the people you love.
Right.
Gender identity is a fluid thing. We both are completely, let's just call it down. It's not even a discussion for you or I.
Yeah.
Like, is this a real thing? Oh, it fucking is.
It's a real thing. Right.
And so this polarity, it's on the same stick.
Correct.
Right? Like, over here, this is what a man is. Over here, this is what a woman is. They're on the same stick. And so if you want it to, you can have this magical flowing.
Correct.
Between one and the other. That's not the question.
Correct.
At least for me with you now. It's more like in that hyper masculine of tearing somebody's head off.
Correct.
Or, crushing. Did you was it a turn on, turn off type of thing, or is it a dialing up? How would you describe when you're in that setting who you are?
Yeah. So what I was addicted to with sports is the ultra competitive nature of competing at the highest level and trying to get the most out of yourself that you could.
Because you're a 1%er in that arena without a fucking doubt.
So wrestling and football and, you could say track and field, like shot put discus, is really what I did. And for me, I just liked challenging yourself every day. I liked the grind of, making it happen. I liked, being a part of a team and being in very hard situations. And
that's not inherently masculine.
Correct.
So, being able to lose and to win, right? And it's a roller coaster. Like if you're playing a football game, you play as an offensive lineman, you play 70 plays in the game. You don't win all 70 plays. You try to win the majority of those 70, right? And there's certain moments that come that you must win for your team to win. Right? So if you ever see the receiver that catches the touchdown, the running back or quarterback that scores the touchdown, that's all a team effort. It took a lot of people to win individually to get that out.
Yeah, because that individual had to be able to break free.
Correct.
And so a bunch of people were tussling.
Correct.
In order for the free break.
Correct. So for the free break means that somebody lost, and that was the defense for the other team. Mm-hmm. So within a play, there's a lot of wins and losses, right? And within the season, so you kind of get around this highs and lows, right? Of wins and losses that you encounter in a football game, in a football season, in years of playing, mm-hmm. that build you up to be able to deal with wins and losses in the real world, right? Mm-hmm. That's wins and losses in business, right? Mm-hmm. You take a loss, you can't. It can't be the last fucking word, right? Right. But it prepares you so that you can take your loss and then you start to figure out wins. And this can be very small. It can be these huge wins. Wins are very small. And then your losses can be small too, or losses can be big. Mm-hmm. So you deal with this up and down. You got to stay kind of midstream there, right? But in order to get these wins and losses on the football field, it takes a lot of energy and it takes a lot of strength, a lot of skill, a lot of focus to be able to win on the football field. So far, none of this speaks to masculinity in itself. Correct. So the violent nature of football is when you see that exertion of strength and domination over somebody else, right? That happens very rarely, but those are highlights. So people see those highlights and say, like, this is football. I'm literally gripped by your answer. I'm not shitting you. Yeah. Because what you're telling me is that you never framed it. You never framed it as being like the man. You framed it as being the player, and the player has nothing to do with gender. You never defined it that way. No. Hence, potentially why you didn't have big dick ego off the field. Right. Yeah. Some people have it for sure. Big dick ego off the field. They're like, this thing is what makes me. It's like, I'm a champion because me and my dick did it. Yeah, for sure. And you can see the most physically talented players will not be your best players because it's more of a mental and physical combination of the game. Well, the mental flows into the physical. Correct. It's rarely physical goes. Strength. It's about speed, right? It's about intellect, especially as higher you go in the game. Yeah. So my you just reframed completely how I see football. Right. So thank you. So with masculinity in football, where it comes is you want to be a well-balanced man. You want to be just as smart as you are physically tough, grit in your heart, your determination, right? To want to be great has to be just as strong as your bench press. And if you relegate it just to like my swinging dick, you're losing. You're losing, right? And so you have to put just as much time into thinking about the game and focusing in the game as you do as actually playing the game, right? Mm-hmm. So it is more of a, when you're trying to build yourself up as a man, it's also to be a leader. Usually you see a football team and you're taking, especially in pro football, the very best from all over our country play professional football. It's a lot of leaders, so it is a very alpha male sport, but to be a leader, you got to be a follower as well. You can't just always say it has to be following. You have to be able to listen as much as you can lead. Well, again, the alpha, I would consider myself an alpha in many settings, not all by any means. Yep.
and I consistently am looking to become a better leader.
100%.
Absolutely. And as a leader, I gotta circulate people out in front of me, not as body shields, but as you've got the skill, you do it, right? Like, I'm not doing this for you. I'll, as best as I can, I'm gonna prepare you, and you go,
Right.
you go, you go, and you do, and you accomplish, you feel, you gain, you do.
And that's similar to a coach. So you see a lot of coaches that they're preparing you for a game, but they're also preparing you to be the very best version of yourself, right? And to push you, sometimes a coach has to know how to push hard, push soft, right? When it's the right time. So you're kind of creating this formula to get the best out of your players at the apex, which is the game, right? But how many practices are those? How many non-practice days are those? How many talks are those, right? To really get your players to the apex by the time game time comes, right?
That's a lot of symphony work right there.
Oh, it's a lot of work.
Orchestrating.
Oh, it's a lot of orchestration. Lots. Because I would say, even for me, some of my best coaches are probably the most difficult people to work with. Because the standard of which they set is not to be wavered. So it is.
I will say, so recently, thinking about knowing that I was going to get to talk to you, I was thinking about I don't know who the coach was, but I know what was said, which was, we don't celebrate in the end zone, because that's where we belong.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't make it a remarkable thing that we're there. Right. That's just what we do,
100%.
right? And there's nothing wrong with excitement around, like, fuck, I did it.
Yeah.
It's the timing of that.
Correct. Yeah.
And that's somebody who's an unshakable leader, right? Like, it says to the team, there's no end dance. There's just, this is also some of what the right people, when asked about a heroic effort, they're like, it's not heroic, it's what was needed, right? It's not heroic. I didn't come to some extraordinary, and I'm thinking of, there's a couple people, civil rights leaders.
Correct. Yeah. First responders at some of the worst days in American history.
You just did what was right.
Correct. Yeah. They did the right thing. They performed what they practiced at the time.
Yeah.
It was needed. And so they should be celebrated, but you ask them of them, maybe not. Right?
Yeah, they're like, I'm just busy doing my work.
So, but I think on the topic of masculinity, that anything can be taken out of context, right? Mm-hmm. And what it is to be a man in society. And I don't think that there's one definition of saying that I'm a better man than this person. There's different versions of it, right? You have to be good at helping people. I would say it's the number one thing about being a man. If you can't help, then you can't really be called a person, right? And that's
contribution is clearly
the number one thing of, if you look at spiritual leaders, which traditionally has been a male roller, right? And then once we did it right, and the ones
that weren't creepy motherfuckers
that abuse their power, right? Same thing for a lot of our leaders in society, right? And this could be a movie star or a musician.
Celebrity status in all their...
Right. Because a celebrity is an important figure.
They're an influence.
Big influence over a number of people. So, of course, we want to hold our celebrities to a high standard, our politicians to a high standard, because those are the people that, whether we chose them, by watching their movie or listening to their music or whatever, they're a leader. But now we want to make sure that leader is actually earning, because after you can earn,
it's not done.
It's not done, right?
Mm-hmm.
that you have to help. You know, you have to be able to help. But and I say celebrity because it's not just males. It's a lot of women that are bigger celebrity than a lot of them, you know. And
yeah, I mean, what is it? I'll use it. So Kim Kardashian's ass is its own thing.
business influence is incredible.
That's right.
Correct.
And like, are you using your power for good?
Right. Which I know she's done a lot of great things.
I don't know shit other than she's got a big old booty. So I'll own that I don't know enough.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think it's really about being able to help. If you can't help in your community, your society, I think that brought together between a male and a man, right? And that gender role, right, as a leader. Right?
So here comes I'm putting you on the spot. And this may mean we revise because again, what I'm hearing is, for me, it's almost beyond gender.
Oh, way beyond.
So you're looking at a competent protector, a provider, and I think you're speaking to is maturation, and that doesn't have much to do with gender at all.
No, because
or roles, universal roles.
Universal roles.
So here's the sticky. What would you say like a mature woman is doing? If a mature man is contributing,
right,
what's a mature woman doing?
I think they do the same exact thing. I don't think it's much different. You know, I think when people, as we talk about gender is a choice. My opinion. Gender is a choice.
It is today.
You can be whatever you want to be.
Biologically, I don't know if
I'm just going male, female.
Right, no. I think there's like a biological, you're biologically born with, and again, there's plenty of anomalies out there. There's a whole segment where I know that they're born as females and then testes develop and then a penis develops and there's some things in the natural world that defy this super simple it's this or that. Right. And then we start to talk about society's labeling, expectation, and it gets real fucking funky.
Right.
And yet, let's say that we can agree there's masculinity and femininity, and they are again on this polar space, and that inside that masculine and feminine is a whole bunch of flux, because I most assuredly come with a lot of masculine energy. I'm outgoing, I'm a grinder, I'm a hustler, I'm after it.
Right.
I definitely want to be a mature expression of both ends of the story. I don't want to be extreme in anything.
Right.
So maybe I'm over here like in the middle, but this definition that you gave around contributing feels really powerful and for me valid.
Yeah, I think it's valid if you were trying to find one word answers, right? You know, if you're trying to find a complete definition, you got faults. We can find faults in every way we try to say things. But if you look at, a single mom or a female CEO or a male CEO, right? Or a single father or even any household, right, that has both parents, right? Or even
all the iterations,
right? You can have, a matriarch, a patriarch of the family, right? They rely on that person for leadership. But leadership is hard, right? They rely on this person for comfort and safety, right? And comfort and safety doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to stop some bullet from coming in this building. It's just that I feel safe when I'm around you. Because I know that you have my
That's one of the greatest compliments you can pay.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that safety and security that people can project helps people feel good. And that's more masculinity, if we were trying to say, or masculine features that you can get behind a person. Is that some of those contributing factors.
Right.
But it doesn't mean that being a woman you can't do that, or you have to be a masculine woman to
No.
do these things.
I can still put a skirt on.
For sure, you can do all this in a dress.
You can do all this in a dress.
Sure enough.
Mm.
Sure enough. And so, but for me as a male, as a man, right? That's the things that I take pride in is that, yes, you can be given a lot, right? Money, resources, power,
Access.
all those things. Don't abuse it. Because you're gonna hurt way too many people when you abuse that power. But you have the tools to help people, infinitely.
Yes.
Because the multiplying factor is powerful.
The compound. Compound your interest, baby.
Oh man, you can impact so many people. But when you abuse it,
You also do.
and that's those negatives. I feel like can impact way in a different way. Those negative impacts.
Well, we have a negative brain bias, and so they'll stick in our attention span
100%.
way more than like the good, unfortunately.
100%.
That's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, that's true.
Before we wrap this up, is there anything that you were like, I hope Annette asks me, or I hope we get to talk about, or there's something? I mean,
nothing
we can come back and do another one of these.
But I would like to know how you got your podcast started and what kind of led to this path.
Super quickly. Yeah. Well, you know that you've come to enough yoga classes that I do Dharma talks on the front end.
Yeah.
And try to sort of illuminate, interestingly enough, hey, this looks like exercise, football.
Right. Yeah.
And yet the opportunity for us runs a lot deeper than that. Let's pay attention to what really matters. And so for me, enough people said, can you do this in another format that I don't have to come and sweat in the middle of the day?
Right, yeah, sure.
And so I started to think about what it might look like and what kind of conversations do I want to have.
Right.
And I ended up here. You ready to go plunge? All right.
Yeah.
When you get in, this is the way we do it. I'm going to ask you about 4 things. 3 things, 2 things, 1 thing. Ready?
No.
Okay, get them big balls down in here. Oh. Okay. Just to while away the 3 minutes, Mr. Joseph.
Sure.
Tell me. Oh, I'm going to go up.
Okay.
What's your middle name?
Clay.
Davin Clay.
Joseph, 3 first names.
Where does this come from?
No idea.
No family with Clay as a name? Okay. Of course, I'm thinking Cassius Clay.
No, I think it may be a connection. I gotta ask my mom, but I don't think she'll make something up. Yeah.
Okay. 2 foods you love that you can't eat anymore, because we've done this together. We've done the testing. Like
Right.
What's good for you, what's not.
So the thing that I miss the most that you see everywhere is romaine lettuce. I like spinach, but romaine lettuce is like one, right? And then the other one is dairy products.
You don't eat any dairy?
No, I do. How much dairy I can eat, right? Oh yeah. So
you know I do.
I do. So cheese has been the hardest thing to ever let go.
Come on, you big puss.
Cheese is the hardest thing to let go, right?
Huh?
But it's about how much cheese.
Okay.
But I started liking goat cheese and feta cheese, but it just doesn't taste the same as cheddar cheese.
Cheddar
Sandwich.
Okay.
What about you?
Well, wait. 3 things.
Okay.
3 things you love to eat.
Love to eat. Still salmon, right? And I probably eat it too much. Right?
Okay.
gourmet burgers, but I can't eat it as much as I want to, right? And soup, all kinds, right? Except for like the one I can't get into is French dip soup. Right? Yeah, it's
Like roast beef French dip
yeah, roast beef French dip. I can't get into.
as a soup. Okay, I'm with you on that.
No, but I like clam chowder. Either way, like I like seafood gumbos
Okay.
of all kinds.
Now I know how to get to your heart.
Oh yeah, like any vegetarian soups, I'm all about it.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
soup is like
Heard it here first.
soup is great.
Okay. 4 places you've been in the world that you would absolutely go back.
Oh my God, that's too hard because domestic or international.
Let's go international. Let's get exotic,
Okay,
Davin.
so Michelle, you know Michelle and Nelson.
Uh-huh.
I took a trip with them to Thailand.
What's the name of their business? Let's give them a shout
Vibe
out.
Society.
Vibe
I'm a
Society.
member, proud member. And so went with them to 2 places that I love. I would absolutely go back to. One is Jordan, and the other one is Thailand.
Wow.
2 great places because,
Especially with them.
especially with them, they do it very well. But once you get to lay the land, you could do it by yourself. But I think it's good to go with a group because I feel like you get more value on the trip, right? People to take you outside of your comfort zone a little bit, right? And share what they love with you. And you know, people normally stick with what they speak, right? But it's a good way to meet people and do different things.
2 more.
Toronto in the summertime. It's an excellent destination.
Okay.
Never done it. Do it. You know, it's the weather part when it gets cold. I'm out. Right?
No.
I'm out. But when it is warm, it is phenomenal.
Okay.
And then my last place that I would absolutely go back to is Panama. Panama is a place I would live.
Okay.
Expat.
We're doing it.
And Panama is like the place. And I feel like I left so many other good ones off the list, but
I only
that's
asked.
for 4. Yeah, only 4.
Okay. I got full shiver, brother. You ready?
To do what?
Get out.
No. You got to go over your list.
Oh, my list. What's my middle name? Christine with a K. With a K. So that comes from the Greek. It starts there. 2 things I don't eat anymore. Tofu.
No,
No tofu.
I don't eat much.
Edamame. Nope.
Soy?
I'm not a fan. Don't eat it very much at all.
Okay.
3 things I love to eat. Salmon. I'm with you on
Salmon.
salmon. Okay, I'm in on the dairy. Heavy. Love the dairy.
Love the dairy.
Eggs. Eggs in all kinds of fashion. I eat a lot of eggs.
Great source of protein.
Yeah.
Okay. 4 places.
4 places. Ireland. Galway in particular.
I like the accent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know that I have as much. Well, so I went to.
Domestic counts as well.
Okay, fair. I just recently was in Las Vegas. Drove my friend back from Las Vegas, so I got to go through a shit ton of states. I wish I
Great job.
could do it again.
People don't realize how great road trips are.
Amazing, and I wish I could give more time
Okay.
because we didn't get to see the Grand Canyon. We drove kind of by it,
Right.
so I was like, "Here's
Rocky
the."
Mountains?
We didn't get that far, so you're coming out through Arizona. We went Flagstaff, Arizona,
Okay.
and then down through Texas,
Yeah, you know.
Mississippi, Louisiana,
Right.
Bama,
Yeah.
and Florida.
A lot of water, flatter trip.
Flat and no stops. I drove my ass off. Yeah, I don't know if did you notice how flat ass I was? That's not
A
never
lot
gonna.
of shit to do it.
Yeah,
But
this
that's not
ass
gonna
is
do
never gonna get flat.
it. No.
And then I love the Adirondacks. I love Rocky Mountains. I've been. Well, that's
Colorado?
I haven't been to Colorado
did go Utah, Montana, obviously Vermont,
Yeah.
New York.
Okay, good stuff.
Okay, now so cold.
So,
So cold. Will you hug me on the outside?
yes.